Welcome. This is Fatherhood in Focus, a podcast designed to help you succeed in your role as a father and maximise your impact. You and I both know we often fight on alone, and this can lead us to lose sight of the things that really matter. I learned the hard way and almost lost it all. I'm standing here today and talking to you because I made a decision to fight back. We are pillars of strength, persistence, resilience and courage, and have a critical role in the development of our children. But often we sacrifice everything for those we love, but often find ourselves isolated and with nowhere to turn. I'm Aidan, a father of two and the founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club, and your host for today's episode. Before we crack on, here's something for you to consider. Everything in today's episode and future episodes is about you. Each episode is designed to talk honestly about the challenges of fatherhood. Today, the world is filled with bullies and influencers using their platform to abuse the position of power that they hold. Their hollow words, empty rhetoric and storyline is designed to get you hooked and bought in. Everyone has a story to tell and a narrative to sell. But today I want to set something straight. This podcast will be different. Whilst this is my space to talk to you, the objective is to grow the conversation about the challenges many of us face. Today I'll make this promise. I'll never mislead or abuse your trust. In a world where short, sharp sentences are designed to get you to commit, this platform will focus on the story, impact, truth, empathy, and focus on the advancement of the fatherhood figure. There'll be no bullshit. No undercutting the value. This is an educational platform designed to create a voice, designed to value and celebrate the contribution that you make to you and your family, and especially your kids. That's it. Thanks for listening, and I respect the importance of the role that you play in every aspect of family life. Fatherhood is for some of us a time when we're isolated from friends, family, and even our loved ones. Sometimes by the choices we make today in the hope of advancing our family and their future, but in most cases by circumstances arising from decisions we've made along the way. Some before we become parents and most since baby arrived. I'm personally curious about fatherhood. I'm frustrated at the lack of support available to us. I'm disappointed in the choices I've made along the way. I don't regret those choices now, but for a long time I did. For a long time I held the belief that I was failing as a father. Like I said, I'm the founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club, a unique business born out of necessity. This podcast will help you find your feet as you embark on your own story, and we will cover everything from relationships, bonding with baby, building confidence, resilience, and how to navigate the early challenges from baby's arrival to the terrible toddler phase right up to those formative school years, which are, in my personal opinion, by far the hardest phase that you won't have prepared for. I'm not going to stand here talking to you about the things I've not personally experienced. If there is something out there that's of interest, let me know and I'll do the research, find the right guest and get those questions answered. This podcast is about personal stories. I'll share some strategies that have helped me along the way and got me thinking about the role I play as a father to two boys. And above all else though, I'll talk honestly about the relentless nature of fatherhood and what I think it takes to be a father in today's society. A society that frankly is overlooking the importance of our role in keeping the foundation of a family together. I'm committed to my story. I've made plenty of mistakes, and I still make plenty of mistakes today. I've realised though that what my boys need is a dad prepared to make mistakes. One that's prepared to learn on the job and leave nothing on the table. You and I both know that if you're putting in the effort today, you'll be feeling exhausted and depleted of your energy reserves. That feeling of exhaustion often leads you to question your impact and your ability as a father. and the bond you're trying to forge between you and your kids. That relentless energy forces you to choose everything above your individual needs and forces you to take a step back from the things you love, those things that energize you and make you smile. Fatherhood is about balance, but often we're so out of touch with what that balance looks like. We think biting down on the gum shield and taking hit after hit is the right strategy. We think protecting our family starts with prioritising everything else but ourselves. That approach can cost us our marriage, our relationships with our friends, our kids, and even our partners. Everything we do is for them, but our misguided mission can actually stop us creating the connections we and they crave. As it takes its mental toll on us, we ignore the signs, overlook the impact it's having on our mental and physical health, and its cost to our career and personal aspirations, and even the appreciation for the effort that we expend. Let me tell you how I ended up here. Look, before we dive in, I want to get something straight. Fatherhood is a phenomenal experience. I'm not here to complain, I'm just facing up to the facts. Fatherhood drains you. It's relentless, but we give it absolutely everything we have. Sometimes, though, it never feels like it's enough. Whether that's because you lack confidence, you're underprepared for that monumental shift in the world around you, or you're just struggling to find the balance, there isn't a day that passes where I'm not shattered. My boys and my partner Terry are my world, and like you, I do absolutely anything for them. I worship the ground they walk on. I love that first interaction in the morning, that time before bed when you get that last cuddle and story in. And above everything, I just love being their dad. I'll let you into a secret though. Fatherhood is my biggest accomplishment. I live for the challenge and the adventure. But it's taught me more about myself than any other stage of my life. It's taught me to be present and connect with the simple things and focus on the things that make us as a collective smile. The thing is, lads, it's not always been that way. In 2020, after Maxie, our youngest, was born, I genuinely thought they were better off without me. I was lost, overwhelmed and spiralling. I was supposed to be celebrating, but at that time I was fighting for air. They don't tell you how much fatherhood takes out of you. Everyone encourages you, but when the going gets tough and you actually need support, they scarper and give you every opportunity to push them away. When Maxie arrived, I was consumed by this wretched feeling of worthlessness. I'd been falling for a long time, but for the first time I felt totally out of control. I longed to be a positive influence on my young family, but I couldn't see how I was going to be that positive influence, and I couldn't see the direction that we were heading in. The weight of the world and my own expectations had crushed my spirit. I couldn't put my finger on why I wasn't happy. It wasn't that I'd become a dad, it had nothing to do with my partner or our relationship. It had everything to do with who I'd become. I was consumed with trying to hide how I was feeling. It became easy until my wife called me out on my behaviour. It had been a tough adjustment. Maxie arrived and my eldest, an emotional whirlwind at 2 3/4 years old, was kicking off every night. On the day in question, I had not been thinking straight. I'd gone from a dad in control to a dad on the verge of a full-blown breakdown. And when Henry didn't go to sleep, I had to escape. Like every dad, I needed to find a solution, so we took a drive. I drove around for what felt like hours. Finally, he dropped off. For the record, this isn't a strategy that ever worked before, but when you're desperate, you'll try anything. Once he was asleep, we drove home. I crept upstairs and I put him to bed. I'd never felt relief like it. Just a few short days in, and I was celebrating a small win. I made my way downstairs and I sat on the sofa in silence, opposite my wife. She rightly wanted to know what was wrong, but I couldn't answer. I couldn't bring myself to give her the answer that she wanted. Here I was, clinging on and praying she'd drop it and just leave me alone. But as the silence filled the room, I wasn't sure she'd let this one go. As she pushed me, I snapped. I wasn't a man of many words. I didn't write things down and I preferred to bottle up any emotion I felt. My strategy had failed. I believed I could wait her out, but I lost. My reaction is something I deeply regret. However, it saved me and it saved us. I was clinging on, and without considering the consequences or the power of the words I was about to use, I blurted out, "I can't cope and I don't want to be alive anymore." Bang! That force of the language I used hit her full on. The utter shock was etched across her face. Her disbelief, as you can imagine, quickly turned to anger as the tears rolled down her cheeks. Her breath quickened. The words had ripped through her. In a moment of weakness, I'd crushed her dreams. Our son was 9 days old, and here I was, admitting to how worthless I felt. I sat there, in silence, regretting the words I'd used, and I was desperate to take them back. For the record, my actions were selfish and reckless. I hadn't considered the words carefully, and I certainly hadn't thought through their impact. Had I done so, I can guarantee you I'd not be standing here talking to you. The dust settled, and as Maxie lay across her lap, I consoled her. I'd never seen a pain like this. The words had ripped right through her. I could see her mind racing. I could see her looking through me, planning a life where I wasn't there, raising our children every day to the memory of the man that she loved. Her reaction stirred something in me. The weight I'd carried started to lift. Yes, my action was selfish, but the impact was far less than committing that unspeakable act. The rawness of the moment subsided, and as we talked, it dawned on me that I had the strength to carry on and the motivation to choose to fight back. I comforted her and made a promise that I keep to this day. I had a choice. I felt terrible. The pain I felt was made worse by decisions I'd made before and after I'd become a parent. She didn't need to see me this way. I was a mess. I'd hit the bottom, and I was afraid of the future and of the man that had failed her and my children. The stark reality is that I thought for a long time I was indestructible. I genuinely thought I could experience setback and loss, bury it deep, and move on. I chose to push everyone away. I made decisions that prioritised everything above my physical and mental health. I put everyone and everything first. What I failed to see was the toll it had taken. In the lead up to Maxie's arrival, I was broken, a shadow of the man I wanted to be for my partner and my kids. I knew all along I was struggling, but I thought I could push past it. It's not until fatherhood hits and gives you a major reality check that you realise that you might have your strategy all wrong. I'm like you. I'd do anything for them. I love them unconditionally. I treasure every memory, and I'm grateful for the world they've shown me. I struggled, but the day I became a parent, something shifted. My message to you, no matter how trivial you think it might be, accept it. Open your heart and share with someone you trust. It cannot consume you because you are made for so much more, and your children need you regardless of what or how you think. Regardless of your experience, when you're finding it hard as a parent, it can feel like there's nowhere to turn. You might think, why didn't you reach out? And you're right. But when you reflect back on a moment like this, you're ultimately faced with a choice. Share or conceal. And I chose the latter. Yes, I talked to my partner, but beyond that, I hid behind this mask. I chose to hide the pain from everyone who cared about me. I know now that it was the shame associated with asking for help that held me back. I wish I'd been more open. In part, it's about trust, but when it comes down to it for me, it was the shame. For you, it might be different, but at the time, I didn't want people to worry, and I didn't want people to think I was weak or incapable of feeling different. If you feel that way, I invite you to join the Modern Fatherhood Club community. If you'd like to share your own story, I'd love to hear from you. And if you're a new mum listening to this and you want to celebrate the impact your partner is having as a new dad, please contact me at hello@themodernfatherhoodclub.com. I want to hear those stories. I want to celebrate their progress. That's it. Episode 1 is out of the way. Something I've been working hard on for a long time is getting the message out there, talking through the difficulties that I've faced as a father. Your role is so important to your children. The love that you have they must see you at your best. You have a opportunity to shape a life, but you cannot shape a life until you get out of your own way. And that's where I was. I was devoid of direction. I was so consumed by my own lack of self-belief and my hatred for the man I'd become that I'd lost sight completely of what mattered. The impact I wanted to have was blurred by my inability to see beyond the pain I was carrying. That moment in time will forever be a part of our family's history. That selfish act of opening up created a stronger bond between me and my partner, and it enabled me to make better choices, but it also enabled me to commit to my role as a father. But not only that, but it enabled me to commit to looking after myself mentally and physically, and it enables me to stand here today and talk to you through this podcast. I'm committed to my story, I'm committed to my journey, and I'm committed to helping you further your own fatherhood story. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this journey. If this story resonates, I invite you to subscribe, and as we develop this platform, we will begin to share more stories from other fathers out there that have overcome struggles and challenges. I'm excited to have you here. I'm grateful that you gave me the opportunity to talk to you today, and I look forward to sharing more stories in the future. Resources in today's episode are designed to hit home and raise the profile of the importance of a father's struggle. Fatherhood in Focus will continue to bring these messages to the forefront of our minds and focus on the reality of modern fatherhood. Like anything, you have to work hard at it. Perseverance, resilience, effort, and a willingness to give it everything is just part of your story. Your struggle, emotions are things that you are conditioned to keep to yourself. Someone asked me why I haven't stopped working on this project and what keeps me going. The answer is simple. Look at your kids. Every motivation to stay on track, to fight back, is right there. No matter how hard it is and how much pain you carry, they need you. They don't need you to step up. That's on you. They need you to be present, free from conflict, and accessible. My biggest fear is that I'll fail my boys. My resources, courses, videos, and everything I write or record is designed to help dads who, like me, may have lost their way. I know you because I know me. The only difference is that I'm one step further ahead. My fear of failure pushes me on, but in reality, that biggest fear is really simple. If my sons become the man I once was, then I haven't given them what they need. Love your journey, focus on the impact that you have, and give them everything you have, but not at the expense of your health, confidence, passion, and love for life. This has been Fatherhood in Focus. Thank you for listening.